Right, let's get into a freelance sales process that is highly effective. I've used it to win dozens of clients, hundreds of thousands of pounds of revenue through this exact sales process. So let's get into it. First of all, you want to be driving inbound leads. I'm not a cold outreach person. It's not something I've used. It can work, and there are better people to talk about that than me, so I'm going to move on from it. But we're looking at inbound leads. I've put a video out in terms of marketing your services, how to get freelance clients. That's how you're going to get the leads. So we're working from a basis of an inbound lead inquiring about your services. What are the inbound sales processes you now need to take? Okay, so first of all, we're going to get them on a connect call. Okay, so this is going to be a 15-minute call max. This really is literally just to connect, touch base, and let's get a feel for if they're a good fit. Now, again, in terms of going through this process, if you have an inbound process where people can inquire via your website, you want to set this all up automated. Really easy to do. Loads of platforms, whether it's Calendly or HubSpot, whatever it might be. There are places where you can embed your calendar into the page. So if someone inquires about your services, they will land on a page which has your calendar, and then you can have available slots. Now, obviously, you can link it to your live calendar. So if you have other meetings, it won't offer those times, but also you can restrict it to certain times when you want to have sales calls. I perform better on sales calls during certain times of the day. So that's when I have availability for them. So that's the first thing. You also then want to sync it up with something like Zoom or whatever platform you use, so it will automatically create an invite and share the link for the call. So when someone books you, there's nothing manual to do for you. It's all fully automated. You just get a notification that the person you're speaking to has booked a call with you, and you can request fields such as obviously their website. Maybe you want to see their LinkedIn profile, any questions you could have about the company. So get a little bit of prior information. And also a little tip is don't allow them to book a connect call with you within a couple of hours of the request. You can set a time from when your calendar becomes open. So that might be 24 hours. So that gives you the time to be able to look into their business and come prepared to that call. Now, as I say, this is a connect call. This is going to be very light touch. You maybe want to ask some questions such as, tell me about your business in your own words, even though you've looked at their site and LinkedIn. Just share with me a little bit about your business. What's the current situation for your business? Where are you now? And where do you want to get to? What's the gap between your existing situation and where you want to get to? And how do you think you could get there? What are some of the ideas you've explored? Now, this depends on your service a little bit. If you're a web designer or if you're a marketer or graphic designer, it kind of depends on what you offer. But this kind of framework of just trying to touch base, get a bit of an understanding of who they are, what they offer, what they're looking for, and some of the options they're exploring for trying to get there, which may include you and your service. On these calls, you should be talking much less than the prospect. So even though it's only 15 minutes, you want to be having 10 to 12 minutes of conversation coming from them and yourself, just really just facilitating the questions, to be honest, because you'll start with that question framework, but don't be too rigid with it. Have some follow-up questions. If there's an area of interest, dig down a little bit, and you should be starting to get into a really nice flow of conversation. And that's when you're going to make sure you cap that call at 15 minutes. You have some, you're getting a good buzz, you're getting some interest. Now, if you feel it's someone you can genuinely help and it's a prospect that you would want to work with, while you're still live on the connect call, schedule what I call the discovery call, but basically the next call in the process. So you're going to do that while they're on the call. You're going to get your calendars open. You're going to send them the invite, and they're going to accept it while you're live on that call. And basically, you're going to say, I've enjoyed this conversation. I feel like we could help. It'd be good to book in a discovery call when we have a bit more time to go through the business in the process. So that call is going to be a 30 to 45-minute call. So we're extending the time now. So now in that discovery call, you want to try and book it within a couple of days, 2 or 3 days of the first call, so you keep a bit of momentum going there. And now you're going to have a bit more structure about the business, about the questions on the call for their business, So it's going to be things like, who is your target audience? Can we detail who that is? How have you reached them before? So how have you won clients, business projects, customers in the past? What's been successful for you? What hasn't been successful for you? What have you tried which didn't work so well? Try and assign some monetary value to that. So if you're here and you want to get there, what's the value of getting to that level for the prospect, and how much would make sense for them to invest? And you're really trying to understand whether your service is a good match and if you can help the prospect through this process. So these are some of the questions and conversations you're going to get into with that prospect. Again, don't be too rigid. Go down rabbit holes that are of interest, but do try and rein them back in if you're going off piste a little bit too far. And similar to the Connect call, they should be doing most of the talking at this stage. So 80-20 in their favor is a good marker. You should be facilitating with questions and follow-ups, and really trying just to understand more and more about their business. Your information gathering, because the next call and the final call in the process is going to be an outline strategy or an outline plan. So you're going to gather all that information and you're going to share with the prospect. Say, that's been fantastic. Thank you so much. Got some great information. Record the call if you can. That's probably the best way. I prefer to do that rather than taking notes or go around a way of doing it. So you can make sure you've got the information from that call. Just ask for their permission to record. Now you're then going to say, right, let's jump on a outline planning call. So give me a couple of days to have some thoughts about the information that you've shared, and I'm going to come back to you. So again, book that call at the end of the discovery call to keep the momentum going. Do it 3 or 4 days from that, so it gives you some chance to sit down with the information. Now, for the outline strategy and planning call, you want to keep your time investment as little as possible while still providing value to the prospect. So the best way to do that is to have a template, have an outline strategy or a planning template. I'm not a mad fan of proposals, but that type of thing really, where you have a template and you're going to go in and just personalize it to the prospect that you've spoken to. All the while thinking, is this somebody you can genuinely help? Do they have a suitable budget? Is it a project I'd want to work on? Would it be a good case study? All these types of questions you should be thinking. And if you're happy that it meets all of those criteria, then take them through to this outline strategy proposal phase. You're now going to talk a little bit more about how you provide your service to them, what you would do to help them get from that gap, as we talked about earlier, where they are, where they want to be. You're going to be the bridge to that gap, ideally, and you're going to explain how you would go about that process. So detail that in the process that you take, personalize it to them. So if you're a marketer, you would explain, these are some campaign ideas we would use. Or if you're a graphic designer, you would say, these are some of the designs or styles or something that we would want to work on, for example. And you're just breaking that down for them. As you get towards the end, you're going to introduce some case studies where you've achieved similar for related clients. You're also going to introduce your pricing here as well. Very important that you explain that and you put that out there, but it's after you've shown a lot of value of what you can achieve for them and got them excited, hopefully, about working on this project with you. And then at that point, you're then going to ask them their thoughts, and you're going to shut up. You're going to be quiet. You're going to pause. Let them share with you their thoughts at this point about what you've just presented, your pricing and everything, and just sit back and listen and learn to what they have to say. Now, you're going to take in that information and you're going to digest it, and maybe you can give some live responses, but what you want to do is be making notes of that. Again, if you can record the call, even better, because there may be 1 or 2 things you can address in your follow-up from that call. Now, you're also going to explain the next steps for moving forward as well at the end of the call. So you're going to say, clients that work with me, we have a kickoff call. We need these assets. This is the process. Then we're going to hit the ground running from X period of time. Depending on your availability, you're also going to explain when you could start as well. And you can just touch on the fact that you will send over an agreement and have a deposit invoice, which I touched on in another video as well. Very important for all new clients to have that included. So these are the 3 calls you're going to go through. So your total time invested, maybe 2 hours, including an hour for research for the planning. So you're 3 hours in to investing in a prospect. Again, all the while doing this because you realize or believe it's a good quality prospect for you to work with. Now, at that point, it's decision time, to be honest. So you can address some of their queries, as I say, and then you can say, right, I have a slot available to start on X day. If you want to go ahead, then fantastic. And then you can share the agreement following the call. Even if you do that and they haven't confirmed they want to, they at least have it ready to go. So if they do make their mind up and decide that they want to work with you, then it's all very easy and straightforward. There's no friction to make the process. So this is the sales process that I've honed over time. I've taken advice from other people, and it's worked with me, as I say, to sign dozens of clients with hundreds of thousands of pounds worth of revenue. And more importantly, qualify out a lot of clients or prospects that I wouldn't have wanted to work with as well. So this is a 2-way process. Both parties should, after this process, be very confident and happy and comfortable with the relationship they're getting into. So I hope that helps. Any comments or questions, as always, post them in the comments below, and I will come back to you.